Good afternoon. Thanks, Peter, for the introduction. I'm Massa and I come from Malta. As I think Peter was saying, I'm an accountant and we have a firm where we offer consultancy, startups, startup businesses, accounting, audit, taxation, and various other financial services. So I'd like to start off with giving a bit of an overview of what would eventually you would need to think about, consider when you come to establish your company, your business, once you have developed your product or your services, and what are the considerations which one needs to do eventually. Okay.
Tipo, se eles venham para um compartilhar com o plano de Catarina das Flores. Mas eu vejo que não vai para
So, obviously, you have an idea, you have the concept, you have thought about it, you have developed something, you know your target market. You should have also some sort of initial finance with which you will be also financing your project and financing your marketing. But that's not all. You need to also see how your company, your entity, your product is going to be positioned for your target market. So you need to ask yourself questions like, where do I want to be in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time? How do I want my clients to see my company? Where do I want to take my company in terms of market position, positioning with competitors, positioning with third parties and other providers in the same sector, and basically you need to see where you are taking your company. Obviously, you have a development strategy yourselves. You know the company organization structure which you are going to structure. The marketing strategy, you have identified your target market. You know how you are going to reach your clients with various marketing strategies. You know how to advertise your product, and you know how to get feedback on how your product is going. And you know how you are going to grow, okay? Initially, it is a small concept, a startup, okay? It may last very short, it may go for a long time, and it can also be big eventually. The objective is always to make a hit and be profitable, okay? But it doesn't really mean that you need to grow a lot in order to be profitable, okay? So at points in time you have to consider whether you have to stop growing, continue growing, and position yourself in the market. You also need to consider sometimes how do you want to be seen? Do you want to be seen as a sole proprietor? Do you want to be seen as a company which is a startup growing with prospects? And then one comes to the question, where do I want to set up my company? Okay? And setting up a company is one of the first steps, how you want to position your company. In the sense that we know there are offshore jurisdictions, there are a lot of other possibilities for tax planning, for no bureaucracy, no controls whatsoever. But then you have to ask the question, if you want to be seen as a company offering your services through some jurisdictions which are not so respected, okay? So today, obviously I come from Malta, and I will give you a bit of an overview also of the benefits and the possibilities which one might have in setting up in Malta. However, first and foremost, before deciding on a particular jurisdiction, on a particular country where you would want to set your company, your startup, okay, you need to consider a lot of points, okay? And here we're mentioning a few. You need to see entry barriers, okay? How much will it cost me? to set up a company, to find employees, to find the necessary resources like legal, like financial. Okay? You have to see a jurisdictional outlook. How is that jurisdiction seen from other countries? Is it a respected jurisdiction? Is it a jurisdiction where you might have clients who would not want to do business with you because you are operating from a non-respected jurisdiction? And you need to also consider your target market. Because depending on your target market, okay, there might be tax planning opportunities, and there might also be situations where clients would want you to be set up in a controlled and regulated environment. Eventually, you might end up in being asked from your suppliers, from your potential clients, okay, for financial statements, audited financial statements, bank references, and you need to be in a jurisdiction where these are required, because if you have a third party who is asking or checking on your company to see whether he will do business with you or otherwise, he needs to find information, or you need to be able to give him information. If not, it's going to be difficult for the client or the third party to do business with you. Bureaucracy. Bureaucracy is very, very important when setting up your business. Sometimes we might end up in situations where you are lost in papers, in controls, in very detailed situations where you have to apply papers after papers, meetings after meetings, and bureaucracy. It creates lots of controls, but at the end of the day, it's not healthy for businesses. So you need to find a jurisdiction where bureaucracy is a bit minimal, because you will end up wasting a lot of time. You would have a product, you would have a business to do, and you will waste a lot of time in setting up and incorporating companies, getting licenses and everything. Okay, so bureaucracy is one thing you need to really consider. And then you have to see also exit barriers. You might grow, you might become multinationals, you might change jurisdictions, so you need to also understand what are the costs to exit that jurisdiction, to exit that market. So these are all considerations which you need to make before setting yourselves into a particular jurisdiction or country. Other considerations which need to be made are the stability, political, financial stability, okay? Rate of unemployment, which is one of the very important factors which explains a lot about a particular country or a particular jurisdiction or state. The rate of inflation is also another indicator. You don't want to go in a country, in a state where there is increases in inflation at more than average, because that doesn't mean that there's a good stable economy. Okay, and also you need to refer to GDP statistics of that country to see how the economy of that particular country is doing, whether it's growing, whether there was some decrease in GDP and other statistics. Malta. It's a new member state. As you might know, currency is euro. GDP has been on the increase for the last years. We happen to be also one of the lowest jurisdictions with the lowest effective rate of tax. However, we are not considered to be an offshore jurisdiction, and I will go into more detail about the reasons why. Okay? Language, English is an official language. As I've already said, we have political and financial stability. Banks are quite stable, and this is an important factor in today's environment, because we see banks having problems all over the world, and you need to consider the stability of the banking system in a country. And apart from all, we have also the climate, which is quite different from Czech Republic, actually. So, other benefits which Malta offers include also the employment, the tax force of people who are willing to work, who are specialized in certain areas. Okay, in Malta we have a population of 450,000 people. So, considering 2,500 graduates per year in various specializations, creates a very good environment for finding people who are specialized in certain areas, such as development, IT, other specializations, accountancy, law, engineering, and everything. Okay? Access to finance, I won't say it's easy, but it's available. Okay? Easy, it's a bit difficult to find the finances easily today because the banks are very, very careful on what finances and to whom they grant finances. However, there are also state assistances, and enterprises are also assisted by the state, not to mention also EU funding. And there are also a number of benefits, tax credits, and even tax holidays in some instances for small and medium enterprises, and also innovation and research and development. So Malta can also be a hub for research and development if you intend to enhance your product, to make more research and development on your product. There are very attractive benefits for those as well. So, if we had to see taxation, I mentioned earlier that Malta offers one of the lowest effective rates of tax within the European Union, okay, and I will go to the general principles. I won't go into much detail. But as a general principle, we have a full imputation system. And a full imputation system means that if the profits of a company have been taxed, they will not be taxed again in the hands of the shareholder. Okay, so the same income is taxed only once at the level of the company, and the shareholder will not pay any further tax on that income. We have an excellent network of double taxation agreements. We have over 60 double taxation agreements, including Czech Republic, and this gives us the possibility to understand more what relationship there is between two particular jurisdictions, one of which will be Malta. Okay. We don't have any transfer pricing rules or controlled foreign company rules. These are especially when you have limitations. There are countries who have limitations to do businesses with other companies which they own. Okay, so for example, a company in Czech Republic and a company in Malta with common shareholders and with common directors, okay, there might be some limitations, okay. However, in Malta, we don't have those limitations. So, if there is a group of companies, one of which is incorporated in Malta, the Maltese company can do business with any other jurisdiction and any other company, even if it forms part of the group. So, it is quite a flexible environment. There are no wealth taxes. There are exemptions on stamp duty on share issues, and also non-resident shareholders, and this is a very, very good point. Non-resident shareholders are exempt from capital gains on transfer of shares, meaning that if one has a company in Malta and he is a shareholder in a company in Malta, and after 10 years he decides to sell part or all the shareholding in that particular company, okay? If the shareholder is a non-resident, there is a complete exemption on the capital gains arising on that particular transaction. As we said earlier, there are no exit taxes, and there are also no withholding taxes on dividend distribution and also liquidation proceeds, because we have a full liquidation system. So, how is a company taxed? All companies in Malta, irrespective of whether they are owned by residents or non-residents, okay, pay a flat corporate tax of 35%. However, if a company is owned either directly or indirectly by non-resident shareholders, upon distribution of dividend from the company, there is also a possibility for the non-resident shareholder to claim 6/7 refund or 5/7 in the case of passive income. So what happens is that if a company, let's say makes 100 of profit, it pays 35 of tax. The remaining 65 is distributed to the immediate shareholder, and the immediate shareholder can claim 6/7 refund on the tax paid by the company, which leaves the shareholder with 95% of the profit and leaving only 5% effective rate of tax in Malta. Having said that, okay, the dividends distributed by the Maltese company, what might then be taxable in the country of residence and domicile of the shareholder. So here one has some room for tax planning opportunities, because all the dividends which will be distributed by the Maltese company will become subject to tax in the country of residence of the shareholder. There might also be scenarios where the corporate structure will be a bit more complex. Instead of having a company and shareholders in their personal capacity as shareholders, we might also be able to structure the company with a holding company which will receive the dividends and the tax refunds, and makes it more flexible for the company to reinvest those profits before distributing them to the final shareholder. It is also more flexible in terms of cash flow, because since there is a requirement to distribute the dividends in order to receive the tax refund, okay, the company might need cash flow. So it might be useful to incorporate a holding company, okay, between the trading company and the shareholder, in order to leave cash flow available for reinvestment in the company, in the trading company. Apart from having a low rate, effective rate of tax on trading income, okay, Malta is also an ideal holding company jurisdiction, because it is all over Europe, because there is a parent subsidiary directive. However, if there is a Maltese company which is owned by non-residents, okay, and has at least 10% shareholding in foreign entities, and therefore the foreign entities distribute dividends to the Maltese company, okay, there are also situations, there are a number of things to be confirmed there, okay? There are situations where no tax is payable in Malta. There is a complete exemption if tax has already been paid at the company level in the foreign jurisdiction, okay? No tax might be paid in Malta. So this effectively makes Malta also an ideal location for setting up a holding company, okay, in a stable jurisdiction, having your trade business outside Malta, having maybe another service company in Malta falling under the same holding company, and here we give rise again for some tax planning opportunities. Okay? One thing I need to point out is that if tax is paid outside Malta, okay, since Malta adopts a full imputation system, there is no further tax payable at the holding company level in Malta. So this is the reason why Malta might also be seen as an ideal holding company jurisdiction. And if tax has been paid in the foreign jurisdiction, and if a double taxation agreement with Malta establishes that Malta can also tax on those, okay, depending on the type of income, there are also credits. So the Maltese company will get credits of the tax paid outside of Malta, okay, and there will be no further tax payable in Malta. So, before I go into growing industries right now in Malta, I wanted to give a brief overview why Malta is not seen as an offshore jurisdiction. Offshore jurisdictions usually tend to be brass plate companies, we call them. You just have a company, you just have a registered office, and you just use that company to supply your services, without even probably going to that country, to that jurisdiction. However, a company in Malta can't operate like that. Malta is not an offshore jurisdiction, it's an onshore jurisdiction, and therefore the company which is established in Malta needs to have a level of physical presence and effective management and control to be established in Malta. So, if someone is a director in a company in Malta, okay, you cannot say, yes, I have the company there, I have the accountant, I have the lawyer taking care of everything, and I never go there, I don't need to go there. No, it's not like that. In order for the income generated to a Maltese company to be subject to tax in Malta, you need to have physical presence. Effective management and control of the company needs to be carried out from Malta. If this is not done, the director, who might not be resident in Malta, might risk the fact that he would be seen as operating a Maltese company in his country of residence, and that may be subject to tax the income generated by the Maltese company, because it wouldn't be income generated in Malta, because the management and control of the company wouldn't be in Malta, but it would be in the country where the director is resident. So all the income might be subject to tax in the country of residence of the director. Going back to Malta, growing industries right now, and in all areas there are specializations, and there are also a solid workforce who are experienced in all these areas. We find, as you might already know, online gaming, financial institutions and banking, including electronic money and payment service providers, investment services, which has a vast range of sub-services, including funds management as well, insurance, shipping and yachting. There are opportunities in Malta for registering ship or yacht in Malta, and there are also tax benefits there. Also aviation. Malta is becoming an ideal location for air leasing companies, okay, and also trusts and fiduciary. Okay, so intellectual property. You might want to also consider having your intellectual property of a particular application, of a particular product, of a particular service you offer, okay, patented. Malta offers also an effective, very good rate of tax and a very good benefit on intellectual property patented in Malta and owned by a Maltese intellectual property or holding company, okay? And here there are opportunities that tax on income generated by intellectual property companies may range from 0% to 6.25%, which is quite effective. Okay, so one might consider operating to a company outside of Malta, but having the software, the idea, the service, the good, patented in Malta, in a Maltese company, and the Maltese company will be generating income with very low rates of tax on that particular revenue. Setting up a business entity, okay, you need to consider what type of entity you are going to establish. In Malta, you can find four main areas where one can establish a particular entity. And we have the limited liability company, which is the most popular source of entities, okay? Limited liability companies where you have shareholders who are not limitedly responsible, okay? It is the company which is operating, it is a limited liability company, and it is the most common form. There's the partnership, okay? And the partnership, there are two types. There is a type of partnership where the partners are fully responsible for and fully limited for what the partnership is doing, and also a partnership with limited liability. Okay, there's a limited liability partnership. The simplest form is a sole proprietor. Okay, so one may initially start, because obviously the costs of running a company, incorporating a company, might be quite high, but one may also consider operating to a sole proprietor. Also, Malta can also host a branch of a foreign entity. Companies outside Malta may set up branches in Malta where specific tasks, specific functions will be assigned to the branch, and the profits of the branch will be transferred to the main company, which will be outside of Malta. Those are the main types of entities which one might operate through. For those who have never been in Malta, I prepared a bit of a short video to give you a bit of an overview.
Only 3 hours away from London, Frankfurt and Milan, there's a small, spectacular island in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea. It's 5 times smaller than the whole of London and has a population of less than 500,000. Yet Malta is a world in miniature. Independent for more than 4 decades, it has its own language. And even a place where one can get away from everything, in Gozo, the next island along. Its islanders go about their life with the typical warmth and hospitality of a Mediterranean character. But visitors see the island for what it is. Which is why, for the past 6,000 years, most visitors have opted to stay on. And while some have tried to make it theirs, others were just happy to leave their stamp. It may feel like time traveling through historic eras, but Malta is not an island where time stood still. Upon its independence, Malta has embraced the future like no other country, and its pulsating vision of forthcoming prospects is inspiring. By 2015, it's expected to become a hub of excellence in the most crucial key sectors. For decades, Malta has been second home to more than 200 foreign direct investors. Since the country joined the European Union in 2004 and the euro in 2008, investors have had the security and comfort of operating simultaneously within the EU borders and within easy reach of other emerging markets. Malta offers several perks: competitive taxes and operating costs, low inflation rates, and a bilingual labour force trained to the highest standards. This, together with rock-solid political and economical stability, which help the island to sail through any international downturns, are but a few of Malta's assets. Malta's ideal location in the Mediterranean makes it a classic attraction for both business and leisure.
So, I welcome you to Malta. Now I see that there are a number of questions.
For the presentation, we have several questions. What kind of companies is good to establish at Malta? Electronic, mechanical, financial?
So, companies in Malta can be, you can set up all types of companies. However, from my experience, the most companies which are set in Malta are service companies. Why? Because for goods, okay, unless it is a manufacturing activity which is carried out in Malta, okay, since Malta is an island, that is one of its main advantages, that anything that has to be transported through Malta, okay, costs a lot. So there, the economies of scale are not so in favor of Malta. However, when it comes to service companies, okay, service companies like .com, software, any other type of services, online services, consultancies, anything, you can set up any kind of company in that area. When it comes to goods, it might be attractive, but it depends the target market. So, for example, if you have a particular good which you are selling in, for example, North Africa, okay, then Malta might be ideal, yes, because it is very close geographically to North of Africa. But if your target market is mainland Europe, okay, it's not ideal to do business through Malta because you need to pass the goods through Malta, or you need to have a physical presence of the goods in Malta. I don't know if I answered the question.
I think it's okay. Okay. What are the costs of moving a company to Malta?
Okay, so I'm not sure whether this question is moving the company or incorporating it from scratch.
I think it's both in the second part.
It's both. Okay, so I will tell you more or less. I asked this question because a company might be re-domiciled to Malta, okay? You might have a company in Czech Republic, okay? And you decide to re-domicile the company into Malta, and that is possible. Costs of incorporating or moving companies to Malta range from, if I can give you a bit of an idea, between 2,000 to 3,000, a simple structure, 2,000 to 3,000 euros, we're saying, a simple structure can be easily incorporated. And there I'm saying you will be operative immediately. And then you will have, depending on the functions of the company.
How about marketing agencies segment?
Marketing agencies,
Is it reasonable?
is it as marketing in Malta or as a marketing agency from Malta for a target market outside Malta?
Do we hear the person who has been asking?
I think it is about operating a marketing agency through Malta, I believe, like affiliations. Yes, that is one of an ideal service to be run through a Maltese company, actually, because it's service-based. It can be easily done.
In fact, you invited the companies to set up in Malta, but I don't think that there is enough wide market to provide customers-based, technical-based, etc. Can you mention any advantages besides taxes?
Okay. Yes, you are right. There is not enough market in Malta for you to sell your goods and services. But today, as you know, the market is not where you are established, but it's all over the world. What Malta gives, rather than taxes, okay, it gives a very good workforce, okay, it gives a number of expertise, okay, it's limited as well. However, since joining even EU membership, okay, Malta has seen a number of foreign people who are choosing to come and work to Malta because since there is a number of interesting booming industries, okay, there Malta is offering a good number of opportunities for people to set up.
Martin, thank you very much.
Thank you.